You know,
and David, that's what sets professional wrestling apart from any other sort of pop culture entertainment, be it comic books or television or movies. Is it does if you get it, if it gets you, if it appeals to you on that level, it is a feeling that you will carry with you forever. And that's what makes it special, you know. And it's the theatrics and the athleticism, all of that. But that on that gut level of just, man, I would love to see that guy get his ass kicked, and I want to see this guy do the kicking. Like that's primal, you know. One thing I do want to talk about, though, we were kind of just talking about the state of the industry, especially in the times of the quarantine that we're all experiencing right now, and the empty arena matches that the larger promotions are putting on. But as far as what I would like to see from the indie scene, I mean, right now, and this is, I mean, I haven't had a gig in front of people live in 6 weeks now. I've had to take my entire operation to social media, and I think that's really where the business has to live right now, and that's what I would like to see. And I've for a long time wanted wrestlers to you know, like we were talking about earlier, living the gimmick, you know, live the gimmick on social media. Every time you're posting on social media, you should be, you know, calling somebody out, talking shit. If you're a heel, if you're a baby face, you know, find ways to work baby face on social media. But there is a tremendous opportunity right now, I feel like, for people to really be practicing their promo skills, cutting promos on each other on social media, getting in Twitter beefs with people, but like, you know, but not the, oh wow, brother, we had a great match the other week, you know, not that shit. I hate it when wrestlers go on social media and, you know, if they were at each other's throat on Saturday night, on Sunday morning, they're patting each other on the back on Twitter and on Instagram. No, dude, like, maintain the heat, maintain the angle through just, you know, it's not like when we were, so there was no social media, obviously, when we were coming up as wrestling fans, but we did have the magazines. The magazines, goddamn, you know, Stan Hansen still hated Rick Martel, you know, in the magazine just as much as he did on the frickin' show. Dusty, you know, Paul Jones still wanted to kill Jimmy Valiant just as much in the magazine as he did, you know, on TV and in the arenas. Like, and
well, let me say something on that. Let me say something on that, Heath. So you're absolutely right. The magazines, the After Mags or George Napolitano or whatever, you know, there's a handful of different ones that were out there throughout the 80s. And a big part of, you know, the pre-internet days is that's the way a lot of us would follow the business. Like, for the longest time, I didn't live in an area where I could see the NWA. So I didn't get a chance to start watching the NWA until after Bill Watts sold the UWF to the NWA, and the existing UWF TV deals then transferred over to the NWA, which would have been maybe 88, somewhere around that time.
Yeah, that was 88.
But before that, I had to follow the NWA through the magazines, but the magazines always did a good job of keeping the art of kayfabe alive and well, to a point where they would help protect the business and protect the individuals that were involved. In modern day social media, I 1000% agree with you. In that if you're going to take to social media on accounts that are created for your particular persona, gimmick, what have you, you should be in gimmick 24/7, because there's Barnabas, and then there's David in my personal life. And I'm sure there's a smattering of people that care about what David does in his personal life. But when I go onto social media as Barnabas, people want to hear from Barnabas. They don't necessarily want to hear from the personal side, the side of me that has to trudge through Monday through Friday to get to the weekend to work shows. And I try to make sure that I adhere to that and give them that at every single point. Because I feel strongly about that, and that's something that, again, that's lacking in today's wrestling business, is a commitment to your craft. And to me, a commitment to your craft is a big part of that. But yeah, man, there are some people that are doing that, to be fair, Heath. There are some people that have been cutting promos, and there's,
MJF,
feds that are doing,
MJF,
yes, absolutely.
I know MJF is AEW, but MJF fucking rules, because he's always a dick. He's always in character, flipping little kids off at the autograph sign. That's like that's awesome. And yes, I want to see that. I want every time MJF is on my TV screen, I want to hear him say some really funny, really mean shit, and then I want to see him get his fucking ass kicked. And that's what you want out of a heel. And right now, because there are no, there are no shows, there are no live events, there's no TV. It's social media is where the business has to live right now. It's where it has to go, and so that's. I was wanting kayfabe on social media, for years, but now it has to be on social media, because this is where especially the indie product. It's got to be. It's where it's got to be, and I as a wrestling fan, that is what I want to see. That is what I want to see. I want to see people, and we can talk about some of the things that WWE is doing with the Boneyard match, which I didn't see, but I read a lot of recaps on. But I did watch the Firefly Funhouse match, and this might surprise you, coming from a fan of traditional, old school, territorial, what have you wrestling. I thought the Firefly Funhouse match was A, really innovative, B, worked within the constraints that they have presented to them right now, which we can't really, you can't. Traditional matches are just fucking stupid to watch and boring. And storytelling, the way it peeled back the layers, and the way of John Cena, and the way it acknowledged history. Yes, these things have happened. There, it's the continuity that we're talking about. There was, they acknowledged the continuity of his persona over the years, and I think that's where the business kind of needs to go right now. Not that everything needs to be like the Firefly Funhouse match, but in that general direction. And it's really hard to have a wrestling match with social distance.
Yes. No, that's very true.
But the promos, the vignettes, the character development, all these things, that can all be happening on social media right now, and I would clamor for it. I would gladly follow any group of wrestlers that were using this time in that fashion on social media. That's what I wanted. I don't want to see another empty arena match, but I would love to see Barnabas Spector, cutting a promo on some fucking white meat baby face in your territory, and outlining your plans for the domination and the destruction of all of your enemies and all of their fans. Yes, sign me up. That's and those are very real options for people in the business right now. Like I said, I'm not in the wrestling business. I'm in a different business, but I've had to change and alter my business model.
Well, yeah, and
work from
you
home,
know, I definitely want to talk about that for a few moments before we wrap everything up today. And you know, there's definitely, even though you don't specifically work within the wrestling business, Heath, you do have a pretty solid grasp and understanding of how it operates. And with being in the music business for so long, again, as we've mentioned a few times, there are absolute distinctive parallels between music and the wrestling industry. But the main thing that you're talking about right now, and it very much is a matter of you practice what you preach, is you're talking about in this particular time, in a time where none of us expected that this was going to happen. I know I certainly didn't. I had multiple things lined up for this year to try to advance my career, and all of that has been either put on the back burner or eliminated completely. But rather than, you know, have a pity party and sit in the corner and in a fetal position, rocking back and forth, crying, woe is me, you have yourself come up with different options, because you're in the same boat, man. You're just like any of us in the wrestling biz. It's not like you can go out and play gigs right now. You know, we can't go to arenas to work shows. You can't go to bar, restaurant, venue, what have you, and play. It's just not possible right now. So if you would talk a little bit about some of the things that you've come up with to keep yourself out there, to keep yourself relevant, to keep yourself busy, and to keep yourself sane during this period of time.
Well, David, you're absolutely right. I have had to adapt to this situation, and it started on day one, even before stuff really started getting shut down, when it was just when it was a possibility, a very real possibility. Back in the middle of March, that bars, restaurants, venues, live music was going to be coming to a close. You know, I had to start thinking to myself, okay, well, how am I going to keep working? And it's been, I mean, in 2 words, social media. I've used a few strategies to raise my engagement, specifically on Instagram. Services that I'm offering, you know, like going back to my 2 jobs, you know, musician, and then the other job is DJ, as a music curator, if you will. First thing I did, I put a video on Instagram, and I was like, hey, does anybody want me to make them a playlist? I'll make you a playlist. Send me a genre idea or a framework or an era, and I'll make you a playlist, and you can Venmo me some money. And I started making money immediately doing that. One Friday night, as a lark, I just set up my phone on a tripod and sat down and played guitar on an Instagram live stream, and I had a little sign in front of me that had my Venmo information on it, and I made some money that way, you know. And so I've been doing the live streams. I've been selling merch. I've got CDs of my original music that I've been selling, T-shirts for both me, my band, and my DJ business, DJ Dad Rock T-shirts. Been selling those, and just putting myself out there every day and learning how to get the most of social media, learning social media strategies beyond just like, hey, I'm going to post this one thing about this thing that I'm doing. How to be and how to work social media like throughout the week, not just the days that you're presenting some sort of performance or anything, but you know, just using, especially Instagram. There's a lot of things you can do on Instagram to raise your engagement, and I've really been mindful for that, and I've looked at the numbers, the insights, and yeah, I've just been raising my engagement. And as the engagement raises, I get more eyes on my streams. I get more contributions to my virtual tip jug, and yes, that is, I've been able to work from home. Just mainly doing performances from my living room, playing guitar and singing on Facebook and Instagram. And I can tell you one guy that's going to be really happy about that is my landlord here in a couple of days. 'Cause